When Maya dents a billionaire's Lamborghini with her beat-up Honda, she expects a lawsuit. Not laughter, coffee, and the start of something real. But can two worlds this different survive what's coming next? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from today. Maya Delaney rubbed her tired eyes as she clocked out from her shift at Value Mart. Her feet ached after standing for 8 hours straight, and her manager had asked her to stay an extra hour when Jessica called in sick again. She glanced at her phone, only 1% battery left, and she still needed to pick up her niece from after-school care. "You look beat, Maya," said Doris, the elderly cashier who had taken Maya under her wing 5 years ago when she first started working there. "Just another Thursday," Maya replied with a weak smile. "Lily's waiting for me, and I promised I'd take her for ice cream today." "That girl is lucky to have you," Doris patted her shoulder. "Now go on, get out of here before they find something else for you to do." Maya hurried to the employee parking lot where her faded red Honda Civic sat waiting, the same car she'd been driving for 12 years. She turned the key in the ignition, and the engine coughed twice before reluctantly coming to life. "Come on, don't do this to me today," she muttered, patting the dashboard like it was an old pet. The air conditioner rattled loudly, but only pushed out warm air. Maya rolled down the one window that still worked and pulled out of the lot. The car stalled at 2 different red lights on the way to Lily's school. Each time, Maya felt the stares of annoyed drivers behind her as she frantically turned the key, whispering desperate pleas to her vehicle. By the time she pulled into the school parking lot, she was 20 minutes late. 8-year-old Lily sat on a bench outside, her small shoulders hunched over a book, the only child still waiting. "I'm so sorry, sweetie," Maya called out as she approached. "Work ran late and then the car acted up again." Lily looked up, her face brightening instantly. "It's okay, Aunt Maya. Ms. Peterson let me read in the office. Did you know elephants can't jump?" Maya smiled, ruffling her niece's dark curls. "I did not know that. Very interesting. Let's get your backpack and head home. Ice cream is still on the menu." "Yes." Lily pumped her fist in the air, momentarily making Maya forget how exhausted she was. 5 years had passed since Maya's sister. Julie had left Lily with her, promising to return once she got her life together. The occasional postcard arrived from different cities, but Julie never stayed in one place long enough for a real conversation. At first, Maya had been terrified. A single woman with no children suddenly responsible for a 3-year-old. But now she couldn't imagine life without Lily's infectious laugh and endless questions. They climbed into the car, Lily chattering about her day at school. The Civic protested again, but eventually started. Maya carefully navigated out of the school parking lot and toward their small apartment on the other side of town. "Can we stop at the corner store for candy too?" Lily asked. "Let's see how the ice cream goes first," Maya replied, glancing in her rearview mirror at a car following too closely. "We need to save for new school shoes, remember?" Lily nodded seriously. "The blue ones with stars, right? I've been good about not asking for stuff." Maya's heart squeezed. No 8-year-old should have to worry about being good about not asking for things. "You're always good, Lilybug. And yes, the blue ones with stars." They stopped at a small strip mall where a local ice cream shop offered 2-for-1 cones on Thursdays. Maya pulled into a tight parking spot near the corner, relieved to find a space close by. "Stay in the car while I back out, okay? I need to concentrate," Maya told Lily as they returned with their ice cream cones 20 minutes later. The parking lot had filled up during their stop, making the already difficult space even tighter. Maya started the car, checked all her mirrors, and began to slowly back out. She was almost clear when her phone, now completely dead, slipped from her lap onto the floor. She glanced down for just a second. That's when she heard it, a sickening crunch of metal meeting metal. "Oh no, no, no," Maya gasped, immediately hitting the brakes. Her stomach dropped as she put the car in park and unbuckled her seatbelt with shaking hands. "Lily, stay here." Heart pounding, Maya stumbled out of her car and walked around to see what she'd hit. Her breath caught in her throat. It wasn't just any car. It was a sleek, midnight blue Lamborghini, the kind of car she'd only seen in movies or magazines. The front bumper was now dented, an ugly scrape marking the pristine paint job. "I'm dead," she whispered to herself. "I am absolutely dead." Driver's door of the Lamborghini swung open, and a tall man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit stepped out. Maya recognized him instantly from business magazines and occasional news segments. Declan Rourke, tech billionaire and CEO of Rourke Tech Solutions. He surveyed the damage with unreadable eyes, his sharp jawline tightening. Maya felt lightheaded. This car probably cost more than she'd make in 10 years. "I'm so sorry," she blurted out. "My insurance, I'll call them right away. My phone died, but I can use the store phone." The words tumbled out in a panicky stream as she gestured wildly toward her beat-up Honda. "I didn't see you. I should have looked better, but—" Maya stopped mid-sentence because Declan Rourke was doing something completely unexpected. He was laughing. Not an angry laugh or a mocking one, a genuine chuckle that transformed his serious face into something much more approachable. Little crinkles appeared at the corners of his eyes, and Maya noticed they were a warm hazel color. "It's just a car," he said, his voice deep and surprisingly kind. "You look like you've been through worse today." Maya blinked, completely thrown off balance. She'd expected yelling, threats of lawsuits, maybe even a call to the police. Not understanding. What?" she stammered. "Are you okay?" he asked, taking a step closer. "Nobody's hurt, right?" "No, we're fine. But your car—" Maya gestured helplessly at the expensive vehicle. Declan waved dismissively. "Like I said, it's just a car. It can be fixed." Maya found herself saying the first thought that popped into her head. "You should buy taller cars." The moment the words left her mouth, she wanted to take them back. Who was she to give car advice to a billionaire? But instead of looking offended, Declan's eyebrows shot up and he laughed again, louder this time. "That's actually a fair point," he admitted. Just then, Lily's face appeared in the Honda's window. Her nose pressed against the glass, ice cream cone dripping down her hand as she watched the exchange with wide eyes. Declan noticed her and gave a small wave. Lily cautiously waved back. "Your daughter?" he asked. "My niece," Maya corrected automatically. "I'm sorry about your car. Really. I should give you my insurance information." She fumbled in her glove compartment for her insurance card, hands still trembling slightly. "Tell you what," Declan said. "Let's exchange information, but don't worry about the car. These things happen." Maya looked at him suspiciously. "Why are you being so nice about this?" Declan seemed taken aback by her directness. "Honestly, I've had a day filled with people who wouldn't dare disagree with me, even if I said the sky was green. It's refreshing to have a normal interaction where someone tells me to buy taller cars." Maya couldn't help the small smile that tugged at her lips. Well, they should be visible to normal-sized vehicles. They exchanged information, though Maya felt ridiculous handing her crumpled insurance card to a man whose business card was made of heavy textured stock with raised lettering. "I should get my niece home," Maya said, glancing at Lily, who was now getting ice cream all over the car seat. "Again, I'm really sorry." "Drive safely, Maya Delaney," Declan replied, tucking her card into his suit pocket. There was something in the way he said her name, like he was committing it to memory. Later that night, after Lily was tucked into bed, Maya sat at her small kitchen table with a cup of tea, replaying the strange encounter in her mind. She expected a call from his insurance company any minute. Cars like that didn't come cheap to repair. What she didn't expect was Declan Rourke himself showing up at Value Mart 2 days later. Maya was stocking shelves in aisle 7 when she heard a commotion near the front of the store. She peeked around the corner to see Doris gesturing excitedly toward her section, and there he was, looking even more out of place in the fluorescent lighting of the budget grocery store, wearing casual clothes that probably cost more than her monthly rent. "Maya Delaney," he said, walking toward her with confidence. "I've been looking for you." "To sue me?" Maya asked warily, clutching a can of baked beans to her chest like a shield. Declan's mouth quirked into a half smile. "Actually, I wanted to thank you." "Thank me?" "For renting your $100,000 car. For being honest, for not treating me differently because of who I am." He paused, looking slightly uncomfortable. "And I wondered if I could buy you a coffee sometime." Maya stared at him, certain she had misheard. "You want to have coffee with me?" "Yes," he said simply. Is that so hard to believe? Maya looked down at her Value Mart uniform, then back at Declan Rourke with his perfectly styled hair and designer clothes. Kind of, yeah. Tomorrow. Morning, he pressed. There's a place called Maggie's Diner near here. I've been told they make decent coffee. Maya knew Maggie's, a simple family-owned place where the waitresses knew regular customers by name. Not the kind of establishment she'd expect someone like him to know about. I have to drop Lily at school at 8:15, she said, surprising herself. By not immediately refusing, 8:30 at Maggie's then. Declan's eyes held a hint of vulnerability that seemed out of place on his confident face. Maya hesitated. Every instinct told her to say no. Men like Declan Rourke didn't just ask women like her to coffee without an agenda, yet something in his expression seemed genuine. Okay, she heard herself say. 8:30. As he turned to leave, wearing that same crooked smile that had disarmed her in the parking lot, Maya wondered what she had just gotten herself into. She had enough complications in her life without adding a billionaire who apparently found fender benders amusing. Behind her, she could hear Doris and the other cashiers whispering excitedly. Tomorrow was going to be interesting, to say the least. Maya arrived at Maggie's Diner 15 minutes early, her nerves getting the better of her. She'd changed outfits 3 times that morning before settling on her best pair of jeans and a simple blue blouse that Julie had once told her matched her eyes. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail, and she'd even applied a touch of mascara and lip gloss, something she rarely bothered with for her shifts at Value Mart. "You're overthinking this," she muttered to herself as she slid into a booth by the window. It's just coffee. But no matter how much she tried to downplay it, meeting Declan Rourke for coffee felt significant. Men like him didn't cross paths with women like her, let alone seek them out after a fender bender. "The usual, honey?" asked Betty, the motherly waitress who had been working at Maggie's for as long as Maya could remember. "Just coffee for now, thanks. I'm, meeting someone." Betty raised her eyebrows but didn't comment. She returned moments later with a steaming mug and an extra place setting. At exactly 8:30, the bell above the diner door jingled and Declan walked in. Despite his attempt at casual clothes, designer jeans and a simple button-down shirt, he still stood out in the modest diner. Several patrons glanced up, recognition dawning on their faces. Maya watched as he scanned the room, his expression brightening when he spotted her. He moved with the easy confidence of a man used to commanding attention, yet there was something almost vulnerable in his smile as he approached her booth. "You came," he said, sliding in across from her. "I said I would," Maya replied, wrapping her hands around her coffee mug. "Though I'm still not entirely sure why I'm here." "Honest as ever," Declan chuckled. "Most people try to impress me when we first meet." "I already hit your car. I think we're past first impressions." Betty appeared at their table, her curious gaze darting between Maya and Declan. "What can I get for you, sir?" "Just coffee, please," Declan said. "And whatever she recommends to eat. I'm told the food here is excellent." "The blueberry pancakes," Maya suggested. "They're the best in town." "Then blueberry pancakes it is," Declan agreed. After Betty left, an awkward silence settled between them. Maya took a sip of her coffee, trying to think of something to say. That wouldn't reveal how out of her depth she felt. "So," she finally asked, "do you often track down women who damage your luxury cars?" Declan's laugh was genuine. "Actually, you're the first. But then again, no one's ever told me to buy taller cars before." "Sorry about that," Maya felt her cheeks warm. "I have this bad habit of saying whatever pops into my head when I'm nervous." "Don't apologize. It's refreshing." He leaned forward, slightly. "In my world, people say what they think I want to hear, not what they actually think. That sounds exhausting." "It is," he admitted. "That's part of why I wanted to see you again. You treated me like a normal person." "Because you are a normal person," Maya pointed out, "just with more expensive taste in cars." Their breakfast arrived, and Maya was surprised at how easily conversation began to flow. Declan asked about her job at Value Mart, and instead of the polite disinterest she expected, he seemed genuinely interested in her day-to-day life. "What about Lily?" he asked. "You said she's your niece. How long have you been taking care of her?" Something in Maya tensed. She was protective of Lily, and rarely discussed their situation with people she didn't know well. But there was something in Declan's expression that made her want to trust him. 5 years now, she said. My sister Julie left her with me, just temporarily, she said. A weekend that turned into a month, then a year. She sends postcards sometimes. But, Maya shrugged, trying to hide the hurt. Lily's better off with stability. That can't be easy, raising a child on your own. We manage, Maya said, lifting her chin slightly. She didn't want his pity. Lily's worth every sacrifice. She's smart, kind, funny, everything I'd want in a daughter. Declan's expression softened. She's lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one, Maya replied simply. As they continued talking, Maya found herself increasingly curious about the man across from her. The Declan Rourke she was getting to know seemed different from the ruthless CEO portrayed in business magazines. What about you? She asked. The articles make you sound like some kind of tech tyrant. Brutal efficiency is the phrase I remember reading. Declan winced. The media loves their narratives. I'm demanding at work because excellence matters. But there's more to life than spreadsheets and profit margins. Like what? He paused, looking momentarily lost. That's a good question. Work has been my focus for so long. No hobbies, no family, Maya pressed. I sail sometimes, travel for business mostly. My parents passed away years ago, and my relationship with my brother is complicated. A shadow crossed his face. As for relationships, nothing lasting. The women I date are usually more interested in what I represent than who I am. There was a loneliness in his admission that struck Maya. Despite his wealth and success, Declan Rourke seemed as isolated in his way as she sometimes felt in hers. Their coffee extended well past an hour, and Maya realized with a start that she would be late for her shift. I have to go, she said reluctantly. My manager's already annoyed that I took a long lunch yesterday. Declan immediately signaled for the check. Let me drive you. In what? Your damaged Lamborghini? Maya teased. I have other cars, he replied, with a small smile. Of course you do, she laughed, but I have my trusty Honda parked out back, dented bumper and all. As they stood to leave, Declan hesitated. Could I see you again? Maybe dinner this time. Maya should have said no. Men like Declan didn't belong in her world, and she certainly didn't belong in his. But something about him, the way he really listened when she spoke, the respect in his eyes when she talked about Lily, made her nod. Dinner would be nice, but somewhere simple, please. And I'd need to bring Lily. I don't have a sitter most nights. Instead of looking disappointed, Declan seemed pleased. I'd like to meet her properly. How about Saturday? I know a family restaurant. Say with an indoor playground. Maya agreed, giving him her address and phone number. As they parted ways outside the diner, she couldn't help feeling she'd just stepped onto a path that would change everything. The next few days passed in a blur of work shifts and routine, but Maya found her thoughts constantly drifting to Declan. She hadn't told Lily about their dinner plans yet, worried about getting the little girl's hopes up about a man who might vanish from their lives as quickly as he'd appeared. When Saturday arrived, Maya was tidying their small apartment when a knock came at the door. She opened it to find Declan standing there, holding a bouquet of cheerful daisies and a small gift bag. You're early, she said, suddenly self-conscious of her simple home with its mismatched furniture and worn carpet. I wanted to fix that door hinge before we left, Declan said, nodding toward her front door that had been sticking for months. I noticed it the other day. You brought flowers and tools? Maya asked, touched and amused. The flowers are for you, he said, handing them to her. The tools were in my car. And this, he held out the small gift bag, is for Lily. Before Maya could respond, Lily came bouncing into the living room, curious about their visitor. You're the man from the car accident, she exclaimed, recognizing Declan instantly. I am, he agreed, kneeling down to her level. My name is Declan. Your aunt has agreed to let me take you both to dinner tonight. Would that be okay with you? Lily considered him seriously. Do you like dinosaurs? Dinosaurs are fascinating, Declan replied with equal seriousness. Did you know they've recently discovered a dinosaur in Argentina that's even bigger than the T-Rex? Lily's eyes widened with delight. Really? Bigger than T-Rex? Really, Declan confirmed. "Oh, and I brought you something." He handed her the gift bag. Lily pulled out a small, beautifully illustrated book about space exploration. "Wow, I love space!" Maya shot Declan a questioning look. She hadn't mentioned Lily's obsession with astronomy. "Lucky guess," he said with a shrug, but his pleased expression suggested otherwise. While Lily explored her new book, Declan set to work fixing the door hinge. Maya watched in surprise as he competently tightened screws and adjusted the alignment. "Where did you learn to do that?" she asked. "I grew up fixing things around our house," he explained. "My father believed in self-reliance even though we had money for repairs, said it built character." This glimpse into his background intrigued Maya. The man the magazines described as ruthlessly efficient in the boardroom was now on his knees, in her living room, carefully adjusting her troublesome door. When they finally left for dinner, Maya was surprised to see a modest SUV parked outside instead of another luxury sports car. "The taller car you recommended," Declan explained with a wink. The restaurant he'd chosen was perfect, upscale enough to be special, but casual enough that Maya didn't feel out of place in her simple dress. While Lily explored the indoor playground, after eating, Maya and Declan sat at a nearby table watching her. "She's a remarkable child," Declan observed. "So curious and resilient." "She's had to be," Maya replied. "Kids adapt, but it hasn't been easy for her. She still asks about Julie sometimes." "And what do you tell her?" "The truth, as gently as I can, that her mum loves her, but isn't able to take care of her right now." Declan nodded thoughtfully. "My mother died when I was 12. My father buried himself in work afterward, leaving me and my brother Alexander to essentially raise ourselves." "I'm sorry," Maya said softly. "It shaped me," Declan continued, "made me determined to succeed, to build something lasting. But looking at you with Lily." He paused, searching for words. "It reminds me there's more to legacy than just a company name." The vulnerability in his admission touched something deep in Maya. For the first time, she allowed herself to see past the wealthy businessman to the man beneath, someone who had experienced loss and loneliness despite his privilege. As the evening progressed, Maya felt increasingly comfortable with Declan. He was attentive but not overwhelming, joining Lily on the playground when she invited him and listening intently to her elaborate stories about her school friends. He treated the little girl with the same respect he showed Maya, never talking down to her or dismissing her interests. After dinner, Declan drove them home, Lily chattering the entire way about stars and planets, her new book clutched tightly in her hands. When they arrived at Maya's apartment building, he walked them to their door. "Thank you for tonight," Maya said softly, as Lily ran inside to put her book on her special shelf. "I should be thanking you," Declan replied. "This is the most normal evening I've had in years." "Normal is my specialty," Maya joked. "I'd like to see you again," he said, his eyes serious. "Both of you." Maya hesitated. She was attracted to Declan, more than she wanted to admit. But she had Lily to think about, and a lifetime of experience had taught her that men with money and power eventually moved on to shinier things. "Declan, I need to be careful here," she said honestly. "Not just for myself, but for Lily. She gets attached quickly and she's been disappointed enough in her life." Instead of being put off by her caution, Declan seemed to respect it. "I understand. How about this? I'd like to be part of your lives in whatever way you're comfortable with. No pressure, no expectations. We can take it one day at a time." His sincerity was disarming. Maya found herself nodding. "One day at a time sounds good." As he turned to leave, Declan paused. "By the way, I had my assistant research your sister. If you want to know where she is more regularly, I could help. Only if you want, of course." The offer caught Maya off guard. She'd spent years wondering about Julie, worrying despite her anger. I'll think about it, thank you." After Declan left, Maya stood at her window watching his car pull away. Lily appeared at her side, slipping her small hand into Maya's. "I like him," Lily declared. "He doesn't talk to me like I'm a baby." "And he fixed our door." Maya smiled down at her niece. "I like him too, Lilybug. But remember, people come and go from our lives sometimes." "Not you," Lily said confidently, "and maybe not him either. He looks at you the way Prince Charming looks at Cinderella in my book." Maya laughed softly, But her heart beat a little faster at Lily's observation. She was treading into dangerous territory, letting herself begin to care for a man whose world was so different from her own. Yet as she tucked Lily into bed that night, reading from her new space book, Maya couldn't help wondering if sometimes the most unexpected collisions could lead to something beautiful, just like the cosmic crashes that formed the stars Lily loved so much. Over the next few weeks, Declan became a regular presence in Maya and Lily's life. He showed up with groceries when Maya mentioned in passing that she hadn't had time to shop. He fixed the leaky faucet in their bathroom and replaced the rattling air conditioner in Maya's car. Each time he brushed off her thanks with a casual, "I enjoy being useful," or "It's nothing," but to Maya it wasn't nothing. She'd spent years handling everything on her own, solving problems as they arose and never expecting help. Having someone step in simply because he noticed what needed doing, not because she asked, was both unsettling and wonderful. "You don't have to do all this," she told him one evening as they sat on her small balcony after Lily had gone to bed. The night was warm and they were sharing a bottle of wine he'd brought. "I know I don't have to," Declan replied. "I want to. Is that so hard to believe?" Maya sipped her wine, considering her words carefully. "It's just, people usually want something in return." "Maybe I do too," he said, his eyes meeting hers in the dim light. "Your company, your honesty, the way you see the world. It's different from anyone I know." A comfortable silence fell between them. In the distance, the city lights twinkled, like the stars Lily loved so much. "Tell me about your company," Maya said finally. "The real story, not the press release version." Declan gazed out at the city. "I started with nothing but an idea and a lot of determination. My father left some money when he died, but not enough to launch a tech company. I worked 3 jobs while coding at night, lived on ramen noodles and coffee." He smiled at the memory. "Every investor turned me down at first, said the concept was too ambitious. What changed? I didn't," Declan said simply. "I kept pushing, refining, believing. Eventually I got one break, a small investor who took a chance. From there it grew faster than I ever imagined. And your brother, you mentioned things were complicated between you." A shadow crossed Declan's face. "Alexander wanted a partnership, but he didn't share my vision or work ethic. He thought his last name entitled him to equal ownership. When I refused, he started his own rival company. That must have been difficult," Maya said softly. "Business is business," Declan replied, his tone suddenly professional, a glimpse of the CEO the world knew. Then he softened again. "But yes, it hurt. He's the only family I have left." Maya reached across the small table and placed her hand over his. The gesture was spontaneous, comforting rather than romantic. But the moment her skin touched his, something electric passed between them. Declan turned his hand to hold hers, his thumb gently tracing circles on her palm. "Maya?" The ringing of his phone shattered the moment. Declan checked the screen and frowned. "I'm sorry, I have to take this. It's my VP of Operations." Maya nodded, drawing her hand back as Declan answered the call. His voice shifted instantly into command mode, asking pointed questions about server outages and security protocols. It was a stark reminder of who he was outside the bubble they'd created in her simple apartment. When he hung up, he looked apologetic. "I need to go. There's an issue at the main data center that requires my attention." "Of course," Maya said, trying to hide her disappointment. "Go save your tech empire." He hesitated at the door. "There's a charity gala tomorrow night for children's education. Would you come with me? As my date?" The invitation caught Maya off guard. Until now, they'd kept their relationship private, meeting at her apartment or casual restaurants where Declan wouldn't be recognized. A high-profile charity event would put them squarely in the public eye. "I don't have anything to wear to something like that," she said honestly. "Let me take care of that," Declan offered. When he saw her expression harden, he quickly added, "Or not. Just come as you are. You'll be the most beautiful woman there regardless." Maya felt her resolve weakening at his sincerity. "Okay, but I'll find something to wear on my own." Declan smiled, clearly pleased. "I'll send a car for you at 7. Lily can come too if you'd like. There's a special children's area with activities and supervision. After he left, Maya sank onto her couch, mind racing. She was falling for Declan Rourke, hard and fast. But was she setting herself up for heartbreak? Men like him lived in a different world. A world of charity galas and data centers and wealth she could barely comprehend. "What am I doing?" she whispered to herself. The next evening, Maya stood in front of her bedroom mirror, hardly recognizing herself. She dipped into her small savings to buy a simple but elegant navy blue dress from a consignment shop. It was the most she'd spent on herself in years. Lily bounced excitedly around the room in her favorite party dress. "You look like a princess, Aunt Maya." "Thank you, sweetie." Maya smoothed her hair nervously. "Remember what we talked about?" "Okay. This is a fancy grown-up party with Declan's work friends. You need to be on your best behavior." "I know," Lily said solemnly. "No running, use inside voice, say please and thank you. That's my girl." Maya hugged her, wondering if she was making a mistake bringing Lily into Declan's world even for one night. The car he sent was a sleek black Lincoln, complete with a professional driver who treated Lily like royalty, helping her into the car, with a formal bow that made her giggle with delight. They arrived at the Grand Plaza Hotel, where red carpet lined the entrance and photographers snapped pictures of arriving guests. Maya's steps faltered as she realized this was a much bigger event than she'd anticipated. Declan was waiting for them in the lobby, handsome in a perfectly tailored tuxedo. His face lit up when he saw them, and he crossed the marble floor quickly to greet them. "You look stunning," he said, his eyes taking in Maya's appearance with obvious appreciation. "You clean up pretty well yourself," she replied, trying to mask her nervousness with humor. Declan knelt down to Lily's level. "And you, Miss Lily, look absolutely magnificent." Lily beamed, twirling to show off her dress. "Can I see the kids' area now? Is there food? Are there games?" Declan laughed. "All of the above. Let me show you." He led them through the elegant crowd to a separate room where several children were already engaged in supervised activities. The space was a child's dream. Craft, stations, video games, a small dance floor and tables laden with kid-friendly food. Once Lily was happily settled, Declan offered Maya his arm. "Ready to face the lions?" "Not really," she admitted, "but I'll try not to embarrass you." His expression turned serious. "You could never embarrass me, Maya. I'm proud to have you by my side tonight." The main ballroom took Maya's breath away. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings, tables draped in white linen surrounded a dance floor, and a small orchestra played classical music in the corner. Wealthy donors in designer clothes mingled, champagne glasses in hand. "Declan!" A sharp female voice cut through the ambient noise. "There you are, the Warrens have been asking for you." A tall, elegantly dressed woman with platinum blonde hair approached them. Her shrewd eyes assessed Maya with undisguised curiosity. "Victoria." Declan nodded coolly. "Maya, this is Victoria Chambers, head of PR for Rourke Tech." "Victoria, this is Maya Delaney." "Lovely to meet you," Victoria said, her tone suggesting the opposite. "How did you and Declan connect? I don't believe I've seen you at previous events." "Before Maya could respond, Declan placed his hand protectively at the small of her back. "Maya and I met through a happy accident. Now, if you'll excuse us, I need to introduce her to some people." As they moved away, Maya whispered, "She doesn't approve of me." "Victoria doesn't approve of anything that isn't strategically advantageous," Declan replied. "Ignore her." Throughout the evening, Maya met more of Declan's business associates. Some were genuinely friendly, while others barely masked their surprise at seeing the notorious bachelor with someone so clearly outside their social circle. During dinner, Maya was seated next to Declan at the head table. She tried to follow the conversations about market trends and investment strategies, but felt increasingly out of place. "Don't worry," an older gentleman to her left said kindly, noticing her discomfort. "I've been coming to these things for 30 years with my wife, and half the time I still don't understand what they're talking about." Maya smiled gratefully. "Thank you. I feel a bit like a fish out of water." "We all do at first," he assured her. "I'm Howard Walsh, by the way. Retired now, but I was Declan's first investor back when everyone else thought he was just a kid with a pipe dream." "Maya Delaney," she replied, warming to his friendly manner. "How did you know to invest when no one else would?" Howard's eyes twinkled. It wasn't the business plan that convinced me, though that was solid. It was the young man himself. The fire in his eyes, the determination, reminded me of myself at that age. Throughout their conversation, Maya caught glimpses of a younger, hungry Declan, a far cry from the polished CEO beside her, but somehow more relatable. After dinner, Declan led her onto the dance floor. As they swayed to the music, Maya felt some of her anxiety melting away. "Having fun?" he asked, holding her close. "More than I expected," she admitted. "Howard told me some interesting stories about you." Declan groaned. "I'm sure he did. He likes to remind me where I came from." "I like knowing where you came from," Maya said. "It makes you more real." The moment was interrupted by a commotion near the entrance. Heads turned as a striking man strode into the ballroom, flanked by two beautiful women in designer gowns. Maya felt Declan tense beside her. "What's wrong?" she asked. "My brother," he said tersely. "Alexander shouldn't be here. This is a private event." The resemblance between the brothers was clear, though Alexander had a sharper edge to his features and a coldness in his eyes that Declan lacked. He scanned the room until his gaze landed on Declan and Maya. A calculating smile spread across his face as he made his way toward them. "Little brother," Alexander said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "Quite a party you've thrown, though your security is lacking if they let me in so easily." "This is a charity event, Alexander," Declan replied evenly. "Not the place for whatever game you're playing." Alexander's attention shifted to Maya, his appraising look making her skin crawl. "And who's this? Your latest distraction?" "Maya Delaney," she introduced herself, extending her hand partly to prevent Declan from stepping between them. "Nice to meet you." Alexander took her hand, holding it longer than necessary. "Charmed, I'm sure. You're not my brother's usual type. Normally he goes for the model or socialite variety, arm candy with the right connections." "Alexander," Declan's voice held a warning. "What?" Alexander feigned innocence. "I'm just making conversation. Tell me, Maya, has he shown you his collection of sports cars yet? Or the yacht? Those usually seal the deal." Maya pulled her hand away, her dislike for Alexander solidifying with every word. "Actually, we met when I dented his Lamborghini with my Honda Civic. I told him he should buy taller cars." Alexander's eyebrows shot up, and for a moment he seemed genuinely surprised. Then he laughed, a sound without warmth. "Interesting. Very interesting." "If you'll excuse us," Declan said firmly, placing his arm around Maya's waist. "Of course." Alexander stepped aside but called after them. "Oh, Declan, I almost forgot. I've acquired something that might interest you. Or should I say someone? Your former head of R&D sends his regards." Maya felt Declan's body go rigid. He turned back to face his brother. "You poached Richard." Alexander's smile was triumphant. "He didn't take much convincing. Apparently he had some innovative ideas you were too cautious to pursue. I'm more open-minded." The two brothers stared at each other, tension crackling between them. Finally, Declan turned away. "Enjoy your evening, Alexander. It's the closest you'll get to my company's success." As they walked away, Maya could feel Declan's anger radiating from him. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. "I need some air," he said tightly. They stepped onto a terrace overlooking the hotel gardens. Declan loosened his tie, taking deep breaths. "I'm sorry you had to witness that." "Don't apologize. Families are complicated." Maya hesitated before adding, "Richard must be important. He's been developing our next-generation security protocols," Declan said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "Alexander didn't poach him for his talent. He did it to get access to our proprietary research." "Can he do that legally?" "It's a gray area. Non-compete clauses are difficult to enforce, especially with technology evolving so rapidly." Declan's phone buzzed, and he checked it with a frown. "I need to call my legal team immediately." Maya nodded, trying to understand. "Go ahead. I'll check on Lily." As Declan made his calls, Maya returned to the children's area. Lily was happily making a craft project with two other little girls, her face glowing with excitement. Aunt Maya, look what I made. She held up a colorful creation. It's a spaceship for you and me and Declan to travel to the stars. Maya's heart squeezed at the casual way Lily had included Declan in their future adventures. She was getting attached, just as Maya had feared. It's beautiful, sweetie, she said. Are you having fun? The best fun ever. Can we stay longer? Please. A faux little longer, Maya agreed. I need to go back to the grown-up party now. Be good, okay? When Maya returned to the ballroom, she couldn't find Declan. Victoria Chambers approached, her expression tight. Declan asked me to tell you he's in an emergency meeting in the hotel's business center, she said. A situation has developed that requires his immediate attention. I understand, Maya replied. Should I wait for him or... The meeting could take hours, Victoria interrupted. Perhaps it would be best if you took your daughter home. I can arrange for his driver to take you. Niece, Maya corrected automatically. She's my niece. Victoria's smile didn't reach her eyes. Of course. Either way, these events can run quite late. Not ideal for children. Though Maya bristled at Victoria's dismissive tone, she had to admit the woman had a point. It was already past Lily's bedtime, and if Declan was dealing with a business crisis, there was no sense in waiting around. Please tell Declan we went home, Maya said with as much dignity as she could muster. And thank him for inviting us. Victoria nodded, clearly pleased to be rid of her. I certainly will. As the driver took them home, Lily fell asleep against Maya's shoulder, still clutching her homemade spaceship. Maya gazed out the window at the glittering city, feeling the gulf between her world and Declan's more acutely than ever. Back at the apartment, she tucked Lily into bed and changed out of her fancy dress. Her phone remained silent. No call or text from Declan. Whatever crisis Alexander had triggered must be serious. Maya curled up on her couch, replaying the evening in her mind. The glamour, the wealth, the corporate intrigue. It was all so far, removed from her daily life of grocery shifts and school pickups. Could she really fit into Declan's world? More importantly, should she even try? Her thoughts were interrupted by a gentle knock at her door. She opened it to find Declan standing. There? His tie undone and his expression troubled. I'm sorry, were his first words. Victoria should have explained better. Alexander's move was calculated to disrupt the evening and force my hand. It's okay, Maya said, stepping back to let him in. I understand you have responsibilities. Declan entered, his shoulders slumped with fatigue. That's just it. I don't think you do understand, and how could you? This is my world, not yours. His words stung, though Maya knew he hadn't meant them cruelly. Is that why you're here? To tell me our worlds are too different? No. Declan said firmly, moving closer. I'm here because in the middle of a corporate crisis, all I could think about was getting back to you. To explain, to make sure you knew this wasn't how I wanted our evening to end. And how did you want it to end? Maya asked softly. Instead of answering with words, Declan closed the distance between them. His hand gently cupped her cheek, his eyes asking permission. Maya gave the slightest nod, and his lips met hers in a kiss that started tentative but quickly deepened with weeks of built-up longing. When they finally broke apart, Maya was breathless. Declan rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since you told me to buy taller cars. Maya laughed quietly. That long? That long, he confirmed. He pulled back slightly to look into her eyes. Maya, I know tonight was a glimpse of the chaos that sometimes surrounds my life. If it's too much, I'd understand. Is that what you want, for me to walk away? No, Declan said emphatically. What I want is you, us. However complicated that might be. Maya thought of all the reasons to be cautious, the differences in their lifestyles, the public scrutiny, Alexander's obvious hostility. But then she thought of how Declan fixed her door hinge, how he listened to Lily's stories with genuine interest, how he looked at Maya like she was precious. I want that too, she admitted. But Declan, I need you to understand something. Lily and I are a package deal. Her well-being comes first, always. I wouldn't have it any other way, Declan said, his expression serious. I care about both of You and I promise, whatever happens between us, I'll always respect that priority. Maya believed him, despite the voice of caution in her head reminding her of how often she'd been disappointed. Something deeper told her Declan was different. As they sat together on her worn couch, his arm around her shoulders and her head resting against him, Maya allowed herself to imagine a future where their worlds weren't separate but merged, a new world they created together. Just before midnight, Declan reluctantly said he had to leave. At the door, he kissed her again, lingering as if memorizing the moment. "Tomorrow?" he asked. "Tomorrow," she agreed. After he left, Maya touched her lips, still feeling the warmth of his kiss. Whatever challenges lay ahead, and she knew there would be many, tonight had changed everything. In her bedroom, she opened her closet and looked at the navy blue dress hanging there. It wasn't a glass slipper, and she certainly wasn't Cinderella. But maybe, just maybe, this real-life story could have its own kind of happy ending. The next 2 months were a whirlwind of happiness for Maya. Declan seamlessly integrated himself into their lives, bringing a joy and stability she hadn't realized was missing. He joined them for movie nights on Maya's small couch, helped Lily with her science project about the solar system, and even volunteered at her school's career day, carefully downplaying his status to avoid overshadowing the other parents. At the same time, Maya found herself stepping cautiously into Declan's world. He took her to business dinners where she met his closest colleagues, invited her to gallery openings, and once, memorably, flew her and Lily to his beach house for a weekend getaway. "I could get used to this view," Maya had said, watching the sunset from his expansive deck while Lily built elaborate sandcastles below. "It's yours any time you want it," Declan had replied, his arm around her waist. All of this could be. The implication wasn't lost on Maya, but neither of them was ready to put words to what was developing between them. It was still too new, too precious. Not everything was perfect, of course. Alexander continued his campaign against Declan's company, using the information from the poached R&D director to develop competing products. The business crisis required late nights and emergency meetings that sometimes pulled Declan away at a moment's notice. Victoria Chambers made no secret of her disapproval, constantly reminding Declan of more suitable social connections and strategically excluding Maya from certain high-profile events. "She's trying to protect the company image," Declan explained after one particularly uncomfortable encounter. "The board members are very traditional." "You mean they don't think a grocery store cashier is an appropriate partner for their CEO?" Maya had responded, more hurt than she wanted to admit. Declan had taken her face in his hands. "What they think doesn't matter to me. Only what you think. Only what we feel." Despite these obstacles, their relationship deepened. Maya found herself falling in love with Declan, not the billionaire CEO, but the man who fixed her niece's bicycle, who brought her soup when she caught a cold, who looked at her like she was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. Lily, too, had grown attached to Declan. He had become Mr. D to her, a steady presence who never missed her school performances and always remembered to bring her favorite candy when he visited. It was Lily who first said the words that were in Maya's heart. "Do you love Mr. D?" she had asked one night. As Maya tucked her into bed, Maya had hesitated. "Why do you ask that?" "Because you look at him the way people look at each other in movies, and he looks at you the same way." "It's complicated, sweetie," Lily had frowned. Grown-ups always say that when they're scared. Out of the mouths of babes, Maya had thought, kissing her niece's forehead. "You're distracted today," Doris observed, as she and Maya restocked the cereal aisle at Value Mart. "That handsome man of yours on your mind," Maya smiled, caught. "Is it that obvious?" "Honey, you've been glowing for weeks now. The whole store's noticed." Doris placed a box of Cheerios on the shelf. "Never thought I'd see the day when a man in a fancy suit walked into Value Mart looking for our Maya." "He's more than just a fancy suit," Maya said defensively. "I know that." Doris patted her arm. "If he wasn't, you wouldn't give him the time of day. You've got good judgment." Maya wasn't so sure about that. The voice of doubt still whispered to her sometimes, especially late at night. Could this good really last? Would Declan eventually grow tired of her simple life, her budget constraints, her lack of sophistication? Her phone buzzed with a text from Declan. "Dinner tonight. I need to talk to you about something important." Maya's heart skipped. The last time a man had said those words to her, it had been Lily's father calling to say he was leaving Julie. "Sure. My place at 7, she replied, trying to ignore the sudden knot in her stomach. "I'll bring dinner. See you then," came his response. All afternoon, Maya's mind raced with possibilities. Was he ending things? Had the pressure from his board become too much? Or was it something else entirely, something to do with the future he occasionally hinted at? When she picked up Lily from school, she was still distracted. "Aunt Maya, you're not listening," Lily complained as they drove home. "I said Ms. Peterson wants me to be in the advanced reading group." "That's wonderful, sweetie," Maya said, forcing herself to focus. "I'm so proud of you. Can I tell Mr. D when he comes tonight? He helped me practice my reading." "Of course you can," Maya smiled, pushing her worries aside. Whatever Declan wanted to discuss, Lily deserved her full attention now. At home, Maya cleaned the already tidy apartment and changed clothes 3 times, finally settling on a simple green dress that Declan had once told her matched her eyes. She applied light makeup and left her dark hair loose around her shoulders. At precisely 7, there was a knock at the door. Maya took a deep breath before opening it. Declan stood there holding bags of takeout from her favorite Italian restaurant and a bouquet of daisies. Not roses or exotic flowers, but the cheerful, unpretentious blooms she'd once mentioned liking because they reminded her of her mother's garden. "Hi," he said, his smile warming his hazel eyes. "Hi yourself," she replied, stepping back to let him in. Just seeing him eased her anxiety. Whatever he needed to talk about, they would face it together. Lily came running from her room. "Mr. D, guess what? I got put in the advanced reading group today." "That's fantastic news," Declan exclaimed, setting down the food to give her a high five. "I knew all that practice would pay off. What book are you starting with?" While Lily excitedly detailed her new reading assignments, Maya arranged the food on plates and set the table. She loved watching them together. Declan never talked down to Lily or dismissed her enthusiasm, no matter how trivial the topic might seem to an adult. Dinner was filled with Lily's chatter about school and friends. Maya kept waiting for Declan to bring up whatever important matter he wanted to discuss, but he seemed content to focus on Lily's stories. After they'd eaten and Lily had shown Declan her latest art projects, Maya gently reminded her it was bedtime. "But I'm not tired," Lily protested. "School night rules," Maya said firmly. "Go brush your teeth and I'll be in to read with you soon." Once Lily had reluctantly headed to the bathroom, Maya turned to Declan. "You said you needed to talk about something important?" "After Lily's in bed," he said, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "Nothing bad, I promise." Maya wasn't entirely convinced, but she nodded and went to help Lily with her bedtime routine. When she returned to the living room 15 minutes later, she found Declan standing by the window, looking out at the city lights. "She's asking for you to say goodnight," Maya told him. Declan smiled and headed to Lily's room. Maya heard their muffled voices and Lily's giggle, followed by what sounded like a yawn. When Declan returned, his expression was soft. "She's amazing, you know," he said. "So bright and resilient and loving, just like her aunt." Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you for being so good with her. It means a lot to both of us." Declan took her hand and led her to the couch. "That's actually part of what I wanted to talk to you about." Maya's anxiety returned. "Oh, I received some information today that I think you should know about." Declan reached for his briefcase and pulled out a manila folder. "About Julie." Maya stiffened. "What about Julie?" "You remember I offered to help locate her. My security team has been discreetly tracking her movements." He hesitated. "They found her, Maya. She's in Denver." Maya's breath caught. After years of random postcards and vague promises, knowing exactly where her sister was felt strange, both a relief and a new worry. "There's more," Declan continued gently. "She's been clean for 8 months. She's working as a waitress and attending community college. And she's been asking around about you and Lily." Maya stood abruptly, pacing to the window and back. "Why now?" After 5 years, why now? I don't know, Declan admitted, but I thought you deserved to know. What you do with this information is entirely up to you. Maya sat back down, processing the news. I don't even know what I feel. Angry, relieved, scared? All of those feelings are valid, Declan said, taking her hand again. You don't have to decide anything tonight. Maya looked at him closely. There's something else, isn't there? This isn't the only thing you wanted to talk about. Declan took a deep breath. You're right. There is something else, but I wasn't sure if this was the right time after dropping this news about Julie. Just tell me, Maya said, bracing herself. To her surprise, Declan knelt in front of her, still holding her hand. Maya, these past months have been the happiest of my life. Before I met you, I had success, wealth, respect, everything except what truly matters. Maya's heart began to race as she realized where this was heading. You and Lily have shown me what family really means, Declan continued, his voice full of emotion. You've taught me to slow down, to appreciate simple moments, to open my heart again. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I'm not asking you to fit into my world, Maya. I'm asking for the chance to build a new one with you, one that combines the best of both our lives. He opened the box to reveal a ring with a single perfect diamond in a simple, elegant setting, not ostentatious or showy, but breathtaking in its clarity and beauty. I love you, Maya Delaney. I love your strength, your honesty, your heart. I love the family you've created with Lily, and I want to be part of it, not as an occasional visitor, but as a husband and, if Lily would allow it, as a father figure. His voice wavered slightly. Will you marry me? Maya stared at the ring, then at the man kneeling before her, the billionaire CEO who had entered her life because of a fender bender and stayed because of love. Tears filled her eyes. Declan, she faltered, overwhelmed. If you need time to think about it, I understand, he said quickly. Especially with this news about Julie. There's no rush. Maya shook her head, finding her voice. I don't need time. I love you too, so much, but I need to ask you something first. Anything, Declan said earnestly. Are you sure? Really sure? My world is small and ordinary. I work at a grocery store. I clip coupons and worry about utility bills. I may never be comfortable at fancy galas or board dinners. Maya, Declan's eyes were serious. I've never been more sure of anything. The galas, the business dinners, they're just trappings. What's real is how I feel when I'm with you and Lily. That's the life I want. What about your board, Victoria, the business world that expects you to have a certain type of partner? They'll adapt, Declan said confidently. And if they don't, that's their problem, not ours. I built my company from nothing once. If necessary, I could do it again, but I can't build another you. His words dispelled the last of Maya's doubts. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Declan's face lit up with joy as he slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. He rose to pull her into his arms, their kiss sealed with promises of a shared future. When they finally broke apart, Maya rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. What will we tell Lily? The truth, Declan said simply. That I love both of you and want us to be a family. And Julie? Maya asked, the news about her sister still fresh in her mind. Declan stroked her hair gently. That's a bridge we'll cross. Together when you're ready. If she's genuinely changed and wants to be part of Lily's life again, we'll find a way to make that work. If not, Lily has us. In that moment, Maya felt a certainty she'd never known before. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Julie's potential return, merging their different worlds, building a new life together, they would face them as partners, as a family. The next morning, Maya woke to the sound of whispers outside her bedroom door. Can I go in now? Lily was asking. Let's give her 5 more minutes, came Declan's hushed reply. I'm making pancakes for a special breakfast. Want to help? Is it because you're getting married? Lily asked, her voice rising with excitement. I saw the ring on the table when I went to get water. Maya smiled to herself. Nothing escaped Lily's. Totis, yes, Declan admitted. But let's let your aunt tell you herself, okay? Will you be my uncle now or my dad? Joey at school has a stepdad. There was a pause and Maya could picture Declan carefully considering his words. I'll be whatever you want me to be, Lily. What matters is that we'll be a family. We are ready. "Ha!" Lily said with the simple wisdom of childhood. Maya wiped away a tear as she heard them move toward the kitchen. She looked at the ring on her finger, glittering in the morning light. It wasn't just a symbol of Declan's love for her, but of his commitment to both her and Lily, to the family they were already becoming. She slipped out of bed and pulled on her robe, following the sounds of laughter and clattering pans to the kitchen. The scene that greeted her warmed her heart. Declan in his shirt sleeves, his expensive watch set aside as he helped Lily measure flour for pancakes. Her small apartment, usually so modest, seemed to glow with newfound possibility. "Good morning," she said from the doorway. They both turned, matching smiles lighting their faces. "Aunt Maya!" Lily bounded toward her. "Mr. D has a surprise for you, but I already know what it is." "Do you now?" Maya laughed, lifting her eyebrow at Declan. He shrugged apologetically. "Our secret lasted about 5 minutes. Can I see the ring again?" Lily asked eagerly. "Is Mr. D going to live with us now? Will we move to his big house? Can I have a room with stars on the ceiling?" "Whoa, slow down," Maya said, kneeling to Lily's level. "Yes, Declan and I are getting married, but we haven't figured out all the details yet." "Are you happy about it?" Lily asked seriously. Maya smiled, glancing up at Declan, who watched them with such love in his eyes. "Very happy. How about you? How do you feel about it?" "I feel—" Lily scrunched her face in concentration, searching for the right word. "I feel like when we put the last piece in a puzzle and everything fits just right." Maya hugged her tightly, marveling at how perfectly Lily had described it. Everything did fit, not because it was perfect or easy, but because they had chosen each other, crash by unexpected crash, conversation by honest conversation, day by ordinary day. Declan joined their hug, enfolding both of them in his arms. "The pancakes are going to burn," he murmured against Maya's hair. "Let them," she replied, unwilling to leave this moment just yet. Later, as they sat around her small kitchen table eating slightly overdone pancakes, Maya thought about the strange path that had led them here. A bad day, a fender bender, a chance encounter that had changed everything. The road ahead would have its challenges, Julie's reappearance, blending their lives, navigating the expectations of Declan's world while staying true to themselves. But looking at Lily chattering excitedly about wedding plans, and Declan hanging on her every word, Maya knew they would face whatever came next together. 6 months later, Maya stood in the garden of Declan's beach house, now their beach house, watching. The final preparations for their wedding. Unlike the elaborate affairs Declan had once attended, they had chosen a simple celebration with only their closest friends and family. White flowers lined the path to a simple arch overlooking the ocean. Chairs for 50 guests were arranged in neat rows. In the distance, the sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. "Nervous?" Doris asked, adjusting. Maya's simple white dress, elegant but understated, just like the woman wearing it. "Surprisingly, no," Maya replied honestly. "It feels right." The past months had brought many changes. Maya had left Value Mart to run a foundation Declan had established to support single parents and at-risk youth. They had renovated the beach house to make it more family-friendly, with a special astronomy-themed bedroom for Lily, complete with the star ceiling she'd requested. Most significantly, Julie had re-entered their lives. After careful consideration, Maya had reached out to her sister, arranging a supervised visit with Lily. The reunion had been emotional but healing. Julie was indeed changed, humbled by her mistakes and committed to recovery. She now lived nearby and saw Lily regularly, rebuilding their relationship one step at a time. "It's time," Doris said, squeezing Maya's hand. Maya took a deep breath and began the walk toward her future. Along the aisle, she saw familiar faces, her co-workers from Value Mart, Declan's loyal employees, Howard Walsh, beaming with approval, and even Victoria Chambers, whose initial frostiness had gradually thawed as she witnessed the positive effect Maya had on Declan. Lily preceded her down the aisle as flower girl, taking her role very seriously as she carefully dropped rose petals on the path. When she reached the front, She took her place beside Julie, who had been gradually earning back her place in their lives. And then Maya saw Declan waiting for her under the arch, his eyes filled with a love so pure it took her breath away. Gone was the polished businessman she'd first encountered. In his place stood a man transformed by love, more open, more grounded, more himself than he'd ever been allowed to be. As she reached him, he took her hands in his. "You're beautiful," he whispered. The ceremony was brief but heartfelt. They exchanged simple vows they had written themselves, promises not of perfection, but of partnership, honesty, and commitment through whatever life brought their way. When Munwedi, the officiant, pronounced them husband and wife, Declan kissed her with a tenderness that spoke of years to come. Applause erupted from their guests, with Lily cheering the loudest of all. At the reception, Howard Walsh raised his glass for a toast. To Maya and Declan, proof that sometimes the best things in life come from unexpected collisions. Laughter rippled through the gathering as Maya and Declan shared a private smile, remembering the fender bender that had brought them together. Later, as they danced under strings of twinkling lights, Maya looked up at her husband. "Any regrets?" she asked softly. "About simplifying your life for us?" Declan shook his head. "What I have with you and Lily isn't simpler. It's richer, deeper, more real than anything I had before." Over his shoulder, Maya could see Lily dancing with both Julie and Doris, her face alight with joy. The family they had created wasn't traditional or perfect, but it was theirs, built on forgiveness, second chances, and the courage to see beyond appearances to what truly mattered. "Look," Declan pointed toward the horizon, where the first stars were beginning to appear. "Lily will be asking for the telescope soon." "Let her," Maya replied, leaning into his embrace. "Tonight is for wishes and new beginnings." As the music played and the ocean waves provided a gentle soundtrack to their celebration, Maya thought about the unlikely journey that had led her here. A terrible day, a dented Lamborghini, and a billionaire who laughed instead of yelled had somehow resulted in this moment of perfect happiness. She had once feared they came from worlds too different to bridge. Now she understood that they had created something new together, a world built on values they both cherished: honesty, kindness, family, and the courage to be vulnerable with each other. The path hadn't been straight or easy. There had been obstacles, misunderstandings, and moments of doubt. But as Declan held her close under the stars, Maya knew with absolute certainty that they had found their way home, not to his world or hers, but to the one they had built together, fender bend by fender bend, wall by broken wall, day by ordinary, extraordinary day, for a love that began with a crash had become the steadiest thing either of them had ever known. The end.